Good evening, everyone. This is a Select Board Water Commissioner meeting for January 23rd of 2023. I'll read tonight's agenda. Under new business, we have Bethany Reimers here. Follow up on the Bouchard Road Bridge and the 105 safety audit. Need to sign a letter to redetermine the 2022 Equalization study. We need to sign warrants, approve meeting minutes, work on our 2023 budget. We have a water abatement in here from Ian Grimes. We need to approve a fleet permit, review an employment application, and approve the bid for the Hill Road Culvert. Is there any other business we need to?
Probably just have to go into executive for the application.
Okay. Yeah, we'll do that at the end of the night. We'll go into executive. All right, I guess we'll jump right in with you, Bethany. Do you guys have anything tonight, or you just here?
No, just want to hear about this, and we have a question, or I have a question for you in reference to where we are.
So yes, I want to touch base on the Bouchard Road Bridge. And I was here, I believe it was in November, and we talked about that VTrans has this federal funding for bridges that are off the federal aid system. It's part of the Infrastructure and Jobs Act. They got extra funding for the special bridge money. And so last legislative session, they made a proposal to the legislature to use $80 million of this bridge funding in a very specific way for some existing bridges that were in the capital program that already had design, and then also for some more historical bridges. And so the legislature approved that proposal. It was 40 some bridges that were in that. And Bouchard Road, Bridge 10 was one of them. And so when I realized this, I just, asked some questions to VTrans, because this was a bridge that has consistently ranked low with the Transportation Advisory Committee based on alternate routes, and also that the bridge had some work done after it was closed for several years, or it was closed for a season. The Transportation Advisory Committee has some questions as well, because there were other bridges that the town had nominated to be considered as bridge projects last year that weren't selected, and that included Bridge 10 on Kane Road and Bridge 11 on Church Street. So just started to ask questions with VTrans, and we had some conversations over the summer, and in the end, and the town needs to be comfortable with this, but in the end, they are receptive to swapping Bridge 11, Church Street, for the Bouchard Road Bridge under this program.
It's really Bridge Street though, not Church Street.
Bridge Street.
Is it Bridge or Church?
Bridge.
Okay. So I'm saying Church,
Yeah.
but I have Bridge right in front of me. Oh, I used it two different places. Thank you. But Bridge 11 for sure.
Yeah.
Kane Road, I know that from a long-term perspective for the town, with that being more of a commuter route and being a single lane road, that is more of a priority for the town. In conversation with VTrans, they didn't feel that one was a good fit for this program, in that just looking at what is currently wrong with that bridge, likely it wouldn't result in a wider bridge through this program. And again, that from my conversations with the TAC and the town, it seems like that really is the deficiency with that bridge, is that it's antiquated based on traffic and farm equipment. But VTrans thought that the Bridge 11 on Bridge Street would be good for this program. So, what we have as next steps is if VTrans will program Bridge 11 in the FY24 capital program, so it becomes officially a project, pending, support from the NRPC and the town. My TAC last Thursday, made a motion to approve this swap and for me to send a letter if it was okay, if the town was going to do the same. So if both NRPC and the town are amenable to the swap, then in addition to VTrans making Bridge 11 a project and putting it in the capital program for FY24, they would stop work on the Bouchard Road Bridge, the Bridge 20, which they'd have started some of the initial, feasibility investigation of that bridge. And that would no longer be a project. That bridge would continue, has a span greater than 20 feet, so it would continue to get the biannual bridge inspections. It could become a project in the future, but it would no longer currently be a project.
Good with that, aren't we? That's what
Yeah, I think
we'd
that's
rather,
what
we'd rather see resources put to this bridge than that other one.
Do we need to make a motion for that, or?
I think you need a letter of approval.
Well, if you did a motion, then I would.
To make a letter, or can we just verbally say we'll support a letter? We'll make a letter. We'll write a letter.
I think he's probably gonna write the letter, but you can.
Yeah, I think
Okay.
if you wanted to approve, that concept tonight, if you pass the motion, then I would put that in my letter to VTrans.
Okay.
And I could also follow up, for your next meeting, draft a letter for you to sign or modify and send in as you wanted. VTrans, because this would involve the legislature, they just want to make sure that the region and the town are supportive.
Yeah.
Before making any changes. And they've also asked that I reach out to your legislators just to let them know about this, so when they see it in the session, that they know that there's support.
So
I'll make go ahead. You wanna go? I'll make a motion to send a letter in support of moving Bridge Street, there it is, Bouchard Road to Bridge Street, yeah, that's it.
we have a motion. Do I have a second to that?
I'll second it.
All right, all in favor of that?
Oh,
Opposed? What do we miss?
I was just going to one piece of information that, and this is the same as the Bouchard Road Bridge, if that would have gone forward, is that these dollars are 100% federal funding for construction.
Okay.
It is 10% local for the design and any right-of-way.
Okay.
Still a really best deal that's out there, but let's make you aware of that.
Okay. We're still good with that?
Still good
motion?
with that, yeah.
Yep, all right. So that's good.
For the 105 road safety audit review, I just wanted to follow up. We hosted that last week, the week before. Really good reception from VTrans and their evaluation team. I think there was about 25 either VTrans engineers, law enforcement, EMS representation, and other outreach specialists. They, so you know, that the draft report will be released in February and March, and then will be finalized in April. And there's going to be a whole laundry list of recommendations coming from that. So I think it's a really great opportunity to build some momentum about addressing this corridor. And there'll be engineering recommendations, enforcement, education, and EMS doesn't have as much, but that's the other factor that will be addressed in the report. already around the table in our debrief at the end of the day, there were some of the law enforcement professionals, talking about, particular grants that they can access to do targeted enforcement. And, being able to, we know that law enforcement, there's such staff shortages everywhere, but they have some ability to bring in enforcement from outside the region and use some special grant funding to do some targeted. There's also a paving project that's coming down the pipe that's being designed right now. So they're going to be looking at what things could be rolled into that paving project. And then of course we have some of the bigger things, which are the Mayshire Road intersection, also the school entrance area as well.
Did they get down as far as the intersection of 120, Gainer Road? Or they didn't go that far?
They ended at, no, but they would have done that one, because it was St. Albans all the way to Enosburg Falls.
Oh, it was.
So
I didn't see anybody down in the corner, that's why I wondered.
so that one, that's included in there, the whole corridor, which is 15.88 miles.
Yeah.
How much say are we gonna, as a town that 105 pretty much travels through, majority of it, how much say are we gonna have to improvements or suggestions or anything like that?
So when that draft comes out, you'll get a copy, and I think that's kind of a critical piece. If there's things that you don't think are compatible with the community or have questions or concerns, comment on the draft, and then before it gets published. They recognize, we had 4 communities that the corridor runs in, but they understand that Sheldon's it. You have the speeding hotspots, you have some of the crash hotspots. And one of the stats that came out from the meeting is looking at the whole 93-mile corridor of 105 in the state. This section that they looked at from St. Albans to Enosburg Falls is only 16% of that, yet it has, I wrote it down, 47% of the fatal crashes from 2017 are in this corridor, 42% of the injury crashes, and 43% of the major crashes. So this is the spot.
Yep. So that draft will get sent right to us when it's done.
It will be, yeah, you're on the distribution list.
Okay.
If it's helpful and you want me to come to a meeting to kind of like talk through some of those, to kind of, if you want help formulating some comments or if there's anything I can help answer,
Okay.
I think that would be important.
Yep.
Good. See what the draft looks like and go from there.
One just final thing, and I'll say it's kind of related to the 105, so we'll stay with the with the agenda. The Sheldon School Campus Poor Farm Road. We did talk a little bit at the Road Safety Audit Review about congestion and issues at the entrance. Just wanted to throw something out there to start thinking about for next steps in dealing with Poor Farm Road. Is the only grant source I could see as far as to do a scoping, to begin the process, the only source I can think of is the Vermont Bicycle and Pedestrian Grant application, which is due in May. That is, you would have to look at the whole area a little bit holistically, because right now you're dealing with, lack of parking, and there is a lot of confusion and congestion with the parking issue.
Yeah.
But you also have kids walking to school. You also have, pedestrians interacting in the campus. So, that would, if you look at the whole picture, that could be an avenue to do some scoping to address that. So that's in May. That's, months away, but
Not really.
yeah.
And what's that one for matching and stuff like that?
Yes, good question. So typically scoping studies range between $45,000 to $75,000. Last year, a lot of them were in that $60,000 range. 20% local match. And if you were looking at budgeting for that, even if you're applying in May, by the time you find out if you get it and by the time the project gets going, you're really looking at your next budgeting cycle. So, because I know that your budget is already developed for this year, so it would be next year's budget that you would
Okay.
look at it.
Good.
Anything else? What'd you have? You have any comments on that?
No, it's not, well, just make sure that the fire department's on the list. I did email the,
Yep,
I can't figure, I don't remember the gentleman's name.
Todd Sears, yes.
And the only other thing I had a question for the board was budgeting and what we talked about last month and where we are. That's all, if there was any decisions made.
Yeah. We're gonna try to finalize the budget tonight. We did do some preliminary stuff on that money, that federal money, and I think the consensus is we're gonna try to spread it around to, and you're on the list, so. No guarantees yet, but we're,
Yeah.
I'm glad we got some input from you at the last meeting there, so.
Sounds good.
Try to get that figured out.
Yep. Just let us know if you need anything else from us.
Okay.
Do you have anything else for us for tonight?
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Becky.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anything else that you need as a fire department, or questions, comments, concerns?
I don't think so. I'm good.
Okay. Sounds good.
Okay.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank you.
guys.
Thank you.
Alright. So, let's jump into stuff here.
Joe, can you get us some pens when you're done?
Yeah, I'll get it filled up.
Okay, appreciate that.
No problem. We will remember you every year.
Good or bad.
So I've got a letter here that's going to Jill Remick, she's the director of property valuation and review, and the town is requesting a redetermination of its 2022 equalization study. Kermit found an error in it, and he wants to appeal it, so to say. So,
He wants an appeal on our behalf or the?
the town of Sheldon. It says the town of Sheldon respectfully request a redetermination of its 2022 equalization study. The farm, woodland, and miscellaneous category ratio is a class ratio made up of 2 small vacant land sales. It is the town's opinion that the townwide ratio would be far more representative. The utility, electric, municipal listed value is $5 million more than the education listed value. So I guess it's short, sweet, right to the point. I'll sign that. Get that sent off. I'll read the meeting minutes from the last meeting. Select Board Water Commissioner meeting, January 9th of 2023, held here at the town office at 7:30. President Stephen Dodd, Seth Hungerford, David Culvert, Joe Dunleavy, Kim Dufresne, Raymond Bushy, and Rick Piasnik. At 7:30, I opened the meeting and read the agenda. Addition made to include an executive session to discuss highway applicants. The select board is in the process of making a list of projects that ARPA funds could be used. They talked with fire department, Raymond Bushy and Rick Piazzi about replacing a fire truck. Andy Crane has requested help with replacing the roof of the historical society building. And the sewer department has requested replacing lines on Mill Street and installing new line on Shawville Road. We signed warrants. We reviewed the common level of appraisal. Current CLA is 81.31. The CLA is below the 85%, so it necessitates a reappraisal. I read the minutes from the December 27th meeting session. Seth motioned to approve as read, seconded by David, and all in favor. Then I read the minutes from the January 4th meeting. David motioned to approve as read and seconded by Seth, and all in favor. We signed the 2023 Certificate of Highway Mileage. We approved Vermont Land Trust Conservation Project memo in support of Stephen and Richard Dodd. At 9 o'clock, Seth motioned to enter into executive session. 9:45, we exited executive session, and we just looked at highway applications. And then at 9:45, the meeting adjourned. I'll take a motion to accept these minutes as read.
I'll make a motion to accept them.
And I get a second on that.
Second it.
All right, all in favor? Opposed?
Yeah.
You just have to accept it and then I'll.
Oh, it wasn't signed. So we have the here. Oh, we need to approve the bid for the Hill Road Culvert. It was put up for bids. The total low bid price submitted by AL St. Ange Contractors in Montgomery was for $309,500, and our engineer checked it all out, and his recommendation is that we award that bid for the contract on the Culvert project. So I need a motion to accept his recommendations and go with St. Ange.
I'll make a motion.
Alright, I'll get a second on that.
I'll second it.
Alright.
When is that project supposed to start? Did it have a start date on it? I don't remember ever.
I think they said they told Seth they were gonna get the culvert built this winter, so they'd be ready for spring.
Yeah, I just didn't know if it had a,
I don't think there's a, there must be a timeline here. Work will be substantially completed within 50 days after the effective date of the contract and completed and ready for final payment within 60 days after the effective date of contract. Contract. set it in, put it back together. With their wish anyway.
Oh, the whole thing, gotcha. Just checking to make sure you're awake.
Anything's possible.
Sorry.
Tries better than one.
It's not filled out yet. It's got a
Probably why I don't
it's got a
remember.
spot for effective date. Alright.
I think in the town report, there is two different, however way we wanna set up the front cover. I think it's in the folder that says town report.
Let's see, water abatements, there's one on here.
One of them hasn't called, but her bill was, she paid it.
They paid it.
I put a note to call me to, she paid it, but
That's way out of whack what she was.
way out of whack. But Hubert's checked it since, and it had moved. That was normal.
Hmm.
So we don't know what she had going on.
But this other person has requested a,
Yes. And I did tell him to check it for any leaks because it went through the meter, so if he does really have a leak, it's gonna show up on the next bill also.
Well, why don't you tell you the day and all that stuff, will you? Day and time the leak was,
If we go in and we can,
pull that data. You said they both did or one didn't? This one did or didn't?
these guys hadn't, they just made it, I guess, but. That's pretty alright.
I think she's only water rate, usually it's $95.
Hmm. Ice rink? Or skating rink? Maybe, but still. It's a lot.
Yeah.
all set with how that was done?
I got questions that I'd like to bring up in executive.
Sounds good.
Did you see this, Joe?
No.
Did you, is your email working yet?
There was?
Is your email working? Did you get the, did you get the email I forwarded to you from Vern today? So Vern wanted to know if we would, share cost on, work on Poor Farm Road. Basically, it was asking for with Cross, because that's who we've done work with in the past down there already, and they kind of know the layout and want to know if we want to work at splitting the cost of moving Poor Farm 50-50. I think is how his email along those lines, if I remember 100%. Don't remember 100%, but it was along those lines.
Should we start with that study that Bethany was talking about? See if the school wants to go ads, looking into.
That's a 2-year plan, by the time you get that going.
And I don't think the school wants to wait 2 years. That's just the way what it sounds like. I like her idea, but I think it's going to take a while.
Yeah. What's they're looking at having them come in and design the parking lot and where we can actually access to move the road to, or they? Yeah, if we're gonna have say in what the cost is gonna do for work. I don't want the fire cross to come in and redesign the whole school, but if it's to do with that project, then I'm not against that.
As long as it's
We're
just
all in
that.
agreement that it needs to be done,
Mhm. As long as it's just that project.
so, yeah.
Yeah, good. You got it or not?
What?
Do you got the email?
Oh, no, I'm just doing the math.
Yeah, I guess if they have a vision of,
I met
you know,
with
how
her.
many parking spaces they're gonna need in the future and, you know, 'cause I don't wanna design, you know, say, oh, okay, we'll move the road down around and then in 2 years they say, oh, our parking lot's too small.
'Cause I met with Vern last Thursday, Wednesday, something like that. Just kind of said what our thoughts were, you know, kind of whatever minimum or recommended entrance of the port farm before it turned left, whether it was a 90, whether it was a sweeping and then the driveway came off and there was a T, whatever, however cross or whoever they hired thought. And I said then came through those woods as much as we could, and basically where the sugar house shed is, kind of there again, turn at 90 and then kind of aim to the back corner of the where it rises up right now, and then connect on the port farm. And then on the back side, he kind of said about right here. I said, yeah, that's kind of what I thought where the second sign is, that kind of before the rise, just basically come around that way, so it doesn't interfere as much with the soccer field as possible, and still, and I said that giving you, they see you guys taking lane that's over here and putting it over here, and then giving you that whole middle space for your parking area, whatever that may look like, you know. And you guys can do whatever you want in there.
I still think they're gonna have to design a lower parking lot too.
Yeah,
Because by the time you leave, you know, bus lane, drop off
yeah,
lanes,
oh yeah.
you know, and then you're gonna have some parking up there, but you're still gonna need a lower parking lot.
That,
And then to make sure that gets designed in so that people can cross, you know, the road safely and.
so however that looks, I said, this
Yeah.
is kind of what we had talked about, and I said, after you guys
Okay.
left, that we kind of just talked about, that we thought it could look like, and if you guys can make this area work, then so be it. So,
Well, according to Nick, they're gonna have to level that all out, start over, cause the school's too small and parking lot's too small and.
that's a lot of
They,
square footage they're gonna add. That's gonna be more rectangular than what they have right now. You know, a lot of it ain't gonna be able to flow much better than what they have
yeah,
now.
but I guess we need to know, you know, they need to know, I guess, are they gonna add on to the school, which way they're going with it? Is it gonna affect the parking, is it gonna affect the traffic,
Right
all that?
now, what they're talking is possibly just adding a small structure on the back side that's not, just to give them classroom space.
Yeah, I don't know, the
Alleviate.
way Nick was talking, they were gonna have to start all over. I just wanna make sure it's all in their plan. I don't
Mhm.
wanna spend much money moving the road, and then 5 years from now, we're in the same
Mhm.
deal going, we need some room,
Mhm.
you know, but they'll know better about that stuff than we will, but. Yeah, I guess,
Could be a preliminary, I mean, just say, at least get something drawn up to say this is what it
Yeah.
could look like, you know?
Yeah.
Do you want them to come back with numbers and what that's gonna cost, or?
for Cross,
Hmm,
we'll
okay,
just soon meet with them, and we could meet with a representative from Cross and Vern or whoever
Yep.
needs to be from their side, and
mhm,
at least a few of us, so we know what they're looking at.
mhm.
This would be just a preliminary, no pulling the trigger on anything, but.
Yep.
No, I'm good with that.
Good.
You guys are? Okay. What'd you come up with on the water abatement stuff here?
One of them's about 1,000 gallons a day,
For the month?
3 months. 'Cause that would be, so that's some water running through somewhere.
Yeah, stuff. $1,000 today.
They paid, but I just was
Can see
like,
those.
that's,
I'll see that.
Now, the first time, is that their original, like when the new meter was installed? The original
this is the
read?
second- This is the second reading.
Second reading was
So they worked the first time, and then the second time they're way off.
Could we have Hubert in like 2 weeks? Go see?
He has been back and checked on that one. At that time it was fine, but I can have him check it again to see where they're at. Now,
Has he spoke with them to see
she
what
would,
was
he
going on?
hasn't contacted her. I sent with the bill a notice to call us
Okay,
because there was definitely a lot of water used in, but she paid the bill.
maybe they were trucking water from.
And that could be too. We don't know what they.
Yeah, that's what I mean, we follow up on that. But that, the one on School Street was requested, did he have a leak? Did he find a leak?
He said no, he didn't have any leaks. But it's definitely after the meter because it went through the meter where the reading was. So I told him to make sure he checked all his faucets, outside toilet, anything. Because if it truly is a leak, it's gonna show up again next quarter.
Yeah.
Unless he fixed it.
Unless he fixed it. Which would be good.
Yeah,
We want them. That's what we want.
Do you know, is the big one, is that a house or a meter pit?
Okay.
so it could be somewhere in the ground from the pit to the,
I wonder if it busted too, maybe froze, and then nobody's fixed anything.
Mhm. We haven't fixed anything. And Hubert went and checked, like 2 weeks after we read that meter, he went to check it again, but it was fine.
it
It
isn't
was
racking
like,
up like it was.
unless maybe they do, I don't know, but I'll have him check it again.
Yeah.
But maybe they weren't hauling, I don't know, maybe somebody was getting water there.
Might be a lot of water.
Because when our farmer does it, it's a lot of water.
Well, what's thoughts on that? Wait and find out on the big one here, what's
Yeah,
going
I
on,
would
do we
wait
get
on
some
that.
response on this other one, do we wanna date it, or do we wanna?
And what's his normal?
He's usually normal,
Just
95.
flat water
well,
treatment?
95
In the sewer,
in
yeah.
sewer.
Yeah,
I would, has he ever had an overage?
No,
I mean, I wouldn't be opposed to abating that one and checking the next one. There's still a, it's not a huge.
consider this one as warning.
Yeah.
Alright. Second on that.
And that's just paying the minimum? Abating the whole thing?
paying the 95.
No.
Just paying, okay,
The
yeah,
yellow part.
yeah, yeah, I'm fine with that.
Alright, all in favor of that?
And,
Opposed? Okay, we'll do that on that one, do some more research on the other one, see what we can figure out. Alright, let's get these budget numbers done and approved. Do you have more copies of that?
I have one. The only other number is whatever we think we're gonna get for reimbursement for this education. And I don't know how, I've talked to 2 people, no one knows how it's gonna get to us.
Would that go in the state fed reimbursement?
That's where I can add it,
Yeah.
but I don't know how much we're gonna get.
But if we approve the, well, we approve the expenses, but that means that sets the tax rate, right? even if we,
I mean, if you wanna wait, we can sign that on Friday, if maybe I might get an answer between now and then.
you wanna do that, get all the numbers together and then just come down and sign it if it changes. Or we could just put a number in that,
I
hope it's close.
would say we could put half at least, because we have,
You know you're gonna get something.
exactly, we know we're gonna get something, we just don't know what we're gonna get, or how it's coming to us, but if we put half in,
Hold on. And no one at the state can answer that, right?
what?
No one at the state can answer that?
No, when I talked to Cy, he said it comes through a school, it's gonna come through on the cash flow through the school education. And I talked to Morgan, and he's like, he thinks it's gonna have to be repaid to the town. I would like you guys to check them very closely.
Good one.
Check them very
Do you have
closely.
enough for all of us?
No, I can get-
That way as I'm looking, we can- Joe, do you have, no?
If you wanna. This is last year's numbers, it's what we spent. This is this year's budget.
How much longer is our contract with, our zoning? A year ago, or is that a year-to-year thing we're
I
doing?
think it's a year.
But he still works there. How's he doing on his, written class in your?
Good, it's doing good, I think he only has a couple left.
Oh.
So I told him, I said, you need to come to the select board meeting.
Yeah.
Should we put some money in to redeck that Bouchard Road Bridge? If nothing's gonna,
Gonna need redecking, yeah.
there's some holes in it, I don't know if they're gonna threaten to close it down if we don't.
Wonder if we could talk to Bath there and see if they're,
I don't know if they
If
have
they-
that trail anymore.
yeah, that's true, they don't have that trail anymore, do they? Cause they got the rail trail.
And maybe some of the timbers are, I think some are good, there's just a couple that have holes in them. Maybe if we just did the top.
Yeah.
Everything, it's gonna get a lot of traffic if that bridge is out, big bridge.
Yeah.
take that number out, we're not far off from where we were.
Yeah, about 260.
Yeah.
Expenses are good. Parks and Rec are up, but that's because we want to do that maintenance project. That's a good thing. That highway road maintenance, we never put anything in for that Hill Road culvert in here. Really need to put some money in there.
Here the Culvert under me, yeah.
Are you gonna take money out of the bridge and culverts to cover that, or do you?
Yeah, that was what we were gonna discuss. We wanna take money out of that bridge and culvert thing for that project. Well, we said we thought maybe we could either do that or reduce some of that.
Federal money.
Federal.
Yeah, I think we should do that. We'll either do the bridge and culvert fund or maybe we don't want this budget too much.
Did Bethany say what this bridge down here, is that a 10% match too?
10% on the development part of it. I think it was 100% federal for the actual building of it.
So it was 10% for the
Scope.
scoping and right away, right?
I believe so.
Yeah. What was Lewis, she said it was 20%?
That was the
School one?
school one.
Okay, that was that.
Really, total expenses isn't bad if you take out that.
269.
Yep.
That's where we were last year, and that's where.
Yeah, but if you take the
So, let me take that back what is that,
269.
269?
I will call Jill, because I gotta email her tomorrow anyways with our note, or our where we're adding money this year. Because we haven't been paid for those projects yet that we completed in 2022.
On the fire department one, that's just numbers they gave us, right?
Yeah.
Which one you got?
Huh?
Which one you got to start next?
I just don't understand this one, the supplies, that was the budget, we spent,
Oh, yeah,
and then they went high,
it's because they just
and
did,
that's just a weird number for you to do any,
yeah, they just did like 7% of.
okay, increase, yeah, cost of living increase or something.
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha.
With those numbers coming back that way, do we wanna increase the sheriff one more? You know, because you take those numbers off, we're not, take that one big number off, we're not far, we're under where we were last year.
Yeah, but we still gotta come up with that number.
No, I'm just, and that's the one, I say that's the one spot where I feel like people are gonna have a, yeah, I'm not saying a lot, I'm just asking the question.
Yeah, I don't know. Certainly we can even hire anybody.
Yeah, yeah, we don't know who's gonna be our sheriff.
Yeah. Well, what do you guys think?
Oh, I need a select board letter too, for the report.
I think Joe said he was gonna do that.
What?
Oh, Nick, cause he's not here.
No, just because it's not Joe.
Yeah, I don't see anything.
That warning, does that have to be put in there, that vote to the way of listers, does that have to be by paper ballot? Does it have to say that on